The U.S. Army announced today that it has activated 2 air defense batteries at Fort Bliss, Texas that will test the Israeli-designed Iron Dome system to see if it can be plugged into the service's air and missile defense network. Designed by Rafael Advanced Defense System Limited, the combat-proven Iron Dome features the Tamir interceptor missile, produced by Raytheon. The system is designed to track and destroy enemy missiles and other threats launched from up to 40 miles away. The Army announced its plans to purchase Iron Dome in February 2019 to comply with the fiscal 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, which required the service to equip ground forces with 2 Iron Dome batteries by 2020. The activation of the Iron Dome batteries at Bliss provides the Army with an interim cruise missile defense capability to protect critical fixed and semi-fixed facilities from multiple air and missile threats, according to an Army release. It's still not certain whether Iron Dome will meet the Army's needs, modernization officials have said. The system will have to demonstrate its ability to plug into the Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command System, or IBCS, that the service has chosen to manage all of its air defense sensors and interceptor systems. General John Mike Murray, commander of Army Futures Command, told reporters in late May that the Army will make every effort to integrate Iron Dome into the IBSC architecture, but the service is not interested in standalone systems. The soldiers assigned to the batteries at Bliss will begin training on the Iron Dome systems and testing how well it integrates with the IBCS system in an attempt to reach operational deployment capability, according to the release. The Iron Dome systems will then compete in an Army shoot-off event in fall 2021. The event is open to all defense firms that can demonstrate that their systems can plug into IBCS. Bruce Jett, the Army's top acquisition executive, agreed with Murray, explaining IBCS will manage multiple air defense systems to support each other with detecting and tracking targets. While another system could end up destroying the target. At the same meeting with reporters in May, Jett acknowledged that Iron Dome was a great air defense system. But, he said, the system's integration with the IBCS is the critical piece that we want to get to. Iron Dome is a mobile all-weather air defense system developed by Rafael Advanced Defense Systems and Israel Aerospace Industries. The system is designed to intercept and destroy short-range rockets and artillery shells fired from distances of 4 kilometers (2.5 miles) to 70 kilometers (43 miles) away and whose trajectory would take them to an Israeli-populated area. Israel hopes to increase the range of Iron Dome's interceptions, from the current maximum of 70 kilometers, 43 miles, to 250 kilometers, 160 miles, and make it more versatile so that it could intercept rockets coming from 2 directions simultaneously. Iron Dome was declared operational and initially deployed on March 27, 2011 near Beersheba. On April 7, 2011, the system successfully intercepted a BM-21 Grad launch from Gaza for the first time. On March 10, 2012, the Jerusalem Post reported that the system shot down 90% of rockets launched from Gaza that would have landed in populated areas. By November 2012, official statements indicated that it had intercepted over 400 rockets. By late October 2014, the Iron Dome systems had intercepted over 1,200 rockets. In addition to their land-based deployment, Iron Dome batteries will in the future be deployed at sea on Sair 6-class corvettes, where they will protect offshore gas platforms in conjunction with Israel's Barak 8 missile system. Iron Dome is part of a future multi-tiered missile defense system that Israel is developing, which includes Arrow 2, Arrow 3. Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, fired rockets into northern Israeli population centers in the 1990s, posing a security challenge for the Israel Defense Forces. Israel had floated the idea of its own short-range anti-missile system, but U.S. defense officials cautioned that it would be doomed to fail. In 2004, the idea for Iron Dome gained momentum with the installation of Brigadier General Daniel Gold as the head of the Research and Development Bureau of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. Gold was a strong backer of the anti-missile project, even skirting Army contracting regulations to secure financing. During the 2006 Second Lebanon War, approximately 4,000 Hezbollah-fired rockets, the great majority of which were short-range Katyusha rockets, landed in northern Israel, including on Haifa, the country's third-largest city. The rocket barrage killed 44 Israeli civilians and caused some 250,000 Israeli citizens to evacuate and relocate to other parts of Israel, while an estimated 1 million Israelis were confined in or near bomb shelters during the conflict. To the south, more than 8,000 projectiles, estimated at 4,000 rockets and 4,000 mortar bombs, were fired indiscriminately into Israeli population centers from Gaza between 2000 and 2008, principally by Hamas. Almost all of the rockets fired were Qassams launched by 122mm Scred launchers smuggled into the Gaza Strip, giving longer range than other launch methods. Nearly a million Israelis living in the south were within rocket range. In February 2007, Defense Minister Amir Peretz selected Iron Dome as Israel's defense against the short-range rocket threat. Since then, the $210 million U.S. system has been developed by Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, working jointly with the IDF. Project leader Colonel S. and his team in the Administration for the Development of Weapons and Technological Infrastructure. Maf'at had very little spare time, and only on the weekends could they think of an appropriate name for the system. According to Colonel S., the first name I thought of was Anti-Qassam, but when the project started to move forward I realized it was problematic. I sat down with my wife, and together we thought of suitable names. She suggested the name Tamir for the missile, and for the system itself we thought of Golden Dome. The following Sunday, Tamir was immediately approved, but there was a problem with Golden Dome. It could be perceived as ostentatious. The initial funding and development of the Iron Dome system was provided and undertaken by Israel. This allowed for the deployment of the first 2 Iron Dome systems. Subsequently, funding for an additional 8 Iron Dome systems, along with funding for a supply of interception missiles, is currently being provided by the United States, with 2 of these additional systems having been delivered by 2012. Funding for the production and deployment of these additional Iron Dome batteries and interceptor missiles was approved by the United States Congress, after being requested by President Obama in 2010. In May 2010, the White House announced that U.S. President Barack Obama would seek $205 million from U.S. Congress in his 2011 budget to spur the production and deployment of additional Iron Dome batteries. White House spokesman Tommy Vietor stated, "The President recognizes the threat missiles and rockets fired by Hamas and Hezbollah pose to Israelis, and has therefore decided to seek funding. This would be the first direct U.S. investment in the project. Such financial assistance could expedite the completion of the defensive system, which has long been delayed by budgetary shortfalls." A few days later, on May 20, 2010, the U.S. House of Representatives approved the funding in a 410-4 vote. The bill, the United States-Israel Missile Defense Cooperation and Support Act H.R. 5327, was sponsored by Representative Glenn C. Nye of Virginia. This money was expected to be included in the 2011 budget. Once the money was received in 2011, it still took a further 18 months before the addition. We are no longer approaching this in terms of initial operational capabilities, but are defining the final target for absorbing the systems, in terms of schedule and funds.